Hello bass family and welcome to Everything Bass. Taking a little different approach to this video, and again it's in direct response to questions from your family members. Beginner bass players sometimes will ask me, like, why does my bass have two pickups, and if maybe their bass only has one, or maybe they have a Music Man pickup with a jazz pickup and I have these two jazz pickups on this particular bass. So there's a lot of questions about the pickups and the tones they create and why is there's two of them, where's their place there. And as I started to think about putting together a video just to talk about that, I realized something from my early days in bass playing that I went through that I think has paid dividends since then. And that is, how many tones can you get just from your bass? So for the sake of this recording, I'm plugged just into my bass head. I'm taking a DI out to the mixing board and recording the audio separately. If you really want to hear the details of what I'm going to demonstrate, I recommend headphones so that you can really hear the differences. So early on, I could only afford a bass and an amp. And even the amp I used was a Lab Series amp. And although it said it was a guitar bass, it was really voiced for guitar. So, but I was in a top 40 band covering a lot of different bands and a lot of different styles, and I was trying my best to mimic them, but I had no money to buy pedals or special effects. So it forced me to really look at all the different tones I can get out of a bass. Now I chose this bass because it has two jazz pickups and it's passive, so there's no active preamp on board. I took that out. And so I want to show you on it should be similar to, like, if you have a Fender Jazz Squier, any bass, really any bass with two pickups. So the stuff I'm going to show you is helpful. So let's first talk about the different tones inherent in what, now this would be called the neck pickup because it's closest to the neck, and this is considered the bridge pickup, closest to the bridge. A pickup is a transducer. It's a microphone basically. And because the string has different tension along it, like right next to the bridge, you can feel it. If you have your bass on right now, pluck right by the bridge, and you can feel that the string is really tight. It's not moving a lot. Now that actually has a tonal effect. When you pluck back here, it's has a lot more attack. It's brighter. It doesn't have a lot of that warmth and low end swell that you get in other places. As you move down the string gets looser, and it's easier to manipulate. That's why you find a majority of bass players pluck somewhere in this area, because the string moves nicely, it's got a good tone. But if you keep moving away from these pickups, you're basically moving your attack farther away from the pickups. You even get a kind of a tubey warm sound. Now there were cover tunes that I was doing initially where in my first band that it was an upright bass. And so I would pluck over here and I would roll off the pickup. But let's talk about rolling off the pickups. I'm going to isolate. So on my, just so you know, on this bass I have a master volume. I have a blend pot which blends between here, and it's got a center notch to it, and you can feel it. That means both pickups are on equally. As I go turning this way, I go to this pickup only, and as I come back, I go to this pickup only. If you're curious, because I know sometimes we'll buy basses used and they got a lot of knobs and you're not sure what each one does, one thing you can do to find out which controls, because sometimes you have two master volumes, which is cool because you can get a lot of in-between sounds. But if you're not sure which one's doing what, just take like a little Allen wrench and turn it one way and tap the pull piece if your pickup has pull pieces on it. When you tap it with something metal, it'll click. Now you could also touch the string to it and get a click. Now it's harder on the bridge one. It's harder to do, but I do suggest like either a small screwdriver or anything metal, a paper clip even pulled apart, touching something metal, you'll hear the click, and that'll tell you when that pickup's active. So I'm going to go solely to the neck pickup. So I'm rotating all the way forward. We call that forward. So you hear. So it's very warm. It's picking up the sound of the string right here, where again the string is a little looser to play. There's more warmth. The attack is still there, but it's not as predominant as when you have plucked near the bridge. Now that's just that pickup. I'm going to keep doing this while I rotate to the center. That's both pickups, and that's just the bridge pickup. Now the bridge pickup, you notice the warmth goes away a little bit. I shouldn't say, it's just reduced, but you get more attack. You'll see that how I use this, and if you guys have seen me play live, I don't think I do it too much on the video, but On live, I'm playing with my balance a lot because if I'm playing chords, I want a brighter tone with less warmth because I don't want it to get too muddy. So I'll rotate to the neck pickup. Listen to this chord here. Now listen to just the neck pickup. Now here's both. And here's just the bridge pickup. Just in the cacophony of live sound with the drums going and whatever else is going on and the room diffusing some of the sound, I found that people could hear my chords better if I used just this pickup. So I rotate it. Now I rotate it forward when I want that warmer sound. Now a lot of times I will rotate it to the bridge pickup, to the neck pickup, and move my plucking hand up here. Listen to all those tones. Now let's say I stay here, but I rotate to the bridge pickup. So the microphone's under the tighter spot, but I'm playing way far away. Now if I rotate to both pickups, keep my plucking hand here, and then I rotate to the bridge. Really, it might seem subtle, but it's really a big difference in that. So what else can we do? All that can be even further tweaked if you have a passive tone knob. Now most basses that are passive will have some kind of way to select between the pickups and then have a passive tone. And this is, most of the time, I'm going to run it full bore. But again, trying to emulate other sounds, I might roll it off. And as you, so full on is fully rotated this way. And that is actually the natural sound of the bass. Make sure I'm back to center and full. So this is both pickups on, tone all the way up. But as I rotate the tone back, some of the high end gets a little bit muffled, and that's by design. That's what we're doing. I'm rotating this out. I'm adding some resistance, I guess, and it's kind of taking the high end and pulling it back. I'll use this too when I'm using the muted thumb technique. Playing reggae, a lot of times I will not only use just I'll rotate to the neck pickup, but I'll pull the tone all the way out. And so that's it. Now, of course, there's variations in between, and it depends on what kind of tone pot you have, whether that's going to be a big difference between all the way off and all the way on, and I just encourage you to explore with it. Of course, if you can't have headphones when you're exploring where you can really hear detail, sit right in front of your amp, turn off all other things, don't have the TV on, and turn up the amp pretty loudly so you could hear. So all these things affect tones, and really the combinations, they're not endless, but there's a myriad combinations you can do by rotating your passive tone, going between the pickups in different, now I was doing extremes. I was like putting mostly the neck in, mostly the bridge in, both pickups full. But of course you can rotate a little bit here and there, just in between those sections, and listen to what the effect is. You combine that to where you're actually plucking the bass, and it's a big difference. Now, one thing I'd like to offer up, and sometimes this is a divisive topic, but if you even want more tone capabilities, just between you and your bass, you don't have all the pedals and stuff, and you don't want to keep running to your amp and changing tone settings, one of the easiest things you could do is also play with the pick. Now I said also, I'm not saying always play with the pick, but if you're looking for different tone, the pick definitely gives you a different attack. And of course, now you've opened up the door to different kinds of pick material: wood, stone, plastic with a little bit of grit to it, felt. There's felt ones. But you can also really hear with a pickup or a pick, you can really hear the difference as I'm plucking in different parts. Like, hear that? Right next to the bridge, right here, over there. So think about adding those tonal variations in with all the things you can do with the pickup selector and the volume and messing with the tone. It's great. Now, For demonstration purposes and to keep things simple, and also realizing that most beginning bass players have passive basses, I went with this. But think about this. Let's say you really just milk every bit of tone variety and you get control of it. You know how to manipulate your instrument to offer the widest variety of tones. Then by adding an active preamp, this just takes it and to the stars. I mean, it's amazing because now an active preamp, for those of you who don't know, is like having the preamp section on your amplifier, the treble, bass, middle controls, things like that, and put it on your bass. And this, without running back to the amp, you're able to boost. On some, you can just boost. Like some preamps, you can't cut like here's your bass frequency. You can't cut it below that point that it's set, but you can get it, boost it up, make it louder. That's called a boost only preamp. A lot of preamps, the ones I prefer, are boost and cut. So you can roll off a little the low end, or you can boost the mids but roll off the highs. Now think about all those tonal capabilities. It's amazing. Some preamps allow you to shift the mid frequencies to 2 points. And that's really kind of cool because you could go, okay, well this band or this song, I'm going to pop this and go to a different frequency for my mids, and that'll give me these tones. So yeah, I encourage you to explore this. One thing that's fun tonight to do after you get done with this video, pick up your bass, your favorite bass, and even if it just has one pickup, but try to find, without using pedals, just plug right into your amp, try to find as many different tones as you can by using different techniques, slap, tap, and really get to know your instrument. This will pay you dividends and is not a waste of time when, if you get lucky enough to be called in to do sessions, listening to what the music director's saying, listening to the band talk and the engineer, and if they say, well, it'd be great if his tone was a little more whatever, you being able to go, hey, let's try this, and you'll know your instrument, you'll know how it goes. I always liken it to, my brother's a retired police officer, but he was a trained sniper. And they know how to take their guns completely apart. He was trained how to load his own ammunition. He knows exactly what to do to make that gun do what he wants to do, and he can trust it. I think we can apply the same thing with our instruments, learning exactly all the variations the tone pot will give us, how manipulating the pan pot will create different tones, really taking time and doing that so that when you're in it, when you're with a band and the singer says, live, the singer says, oh man, can you make your bass a little punchier? Without having to go to anything else, you could just go, oh yeah, absolutely. Change where you play on the bass, change the pickup settings. Oh man, it's just great. And like I said, it's gonna, whatever time you invest into learning how to manipulate your instrument and get the most tones out of it will pay back dividends, I promise you. I promise you. And it's just a lot of fun. Do you have questions about this? Maybe you have a very unique bass, maybe a bass I'm not even familiar with, but it has very unique electronics, but you need help figuring it out. I'd love to help. Or I'm sure your family members here, your bass family members would. So if you're struggling with this, post in the comments below. Say, hey, I have this such and such bass. Try to be as descriptive, what year it was made, what the model is, but you're not sure what things do, or you're not sure how to get it, or anything like that. Let's just throw it up. I'll try to answer it, but I'm sure that there's other family members who maybe already own that bass and can give you a perspective you don't have. So let's get to know everything our instruments can do, and it'll make us better players. All right, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give me a little thumbs up like. It really helps in the eyes of the YouTube overlords that my videos get more likes. And if you like this content and want to see more of it, please subscribe. Just hit the little button at the bottom of the page and give me the bell icon. Hit that bell icon and I'll let you know every time I upload videos. I try to upload 4 to 5 videos every weekend. All right, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Let me know what you think of this video, and I will see you at the next video.